Stewardship is what the Ontario Green Party is all about. And I know that each and every one of you take your commitment to being stewards of your communities seriously. And I want to thank each and every one of you for the fantastic work that you do, and especially the difficult work you've achieved over the last 2 years. I want to thank the Ontario Good Roads Association for bringing us all together today. And there is no question that the last 2 years have been tough. The pandemic has exposed deep cracks in the foundations of Ontario's systems, from jobs to healthcare to building affordable communities. And I want to be clear that I don't believe the half measures of the past are going to work to fill in those cracks. And we have to act now. We cannot afford to wait. We need new solutions to the old problems facing this province. And the Ontario Greens will be your champion, your partner in tackling the housing affordability crisis, acting on climate, and improving the health of our people and our communities. We have a real plan to build livable, affordable communities all across Ontario. Communities where everyone has an affordable place to call home in the community they love. We will work with you to build 15-minute communities where people can live, work, and play and shop locally without having to have long, expensive commutes every day. By building infill and missing middle developments within existing urban boundaries, by making fourplexes and triplexes and duplexes as of right, by building laneway housing and tiny housing and secondary suites so we can rapidly ramp up the supply of affordable housing within our existing neighborhoods. We will reverse the trend that's existed in this province since the mid-1990s, when the province stopped funding nonprofit and co-op housing providers to build deeply affordable housing. And we will upload 50% of social housing costs off of municipalities to help take the burden off taxpayers. We will do this by also saying no to expensive urban sprawl and expensive highways like Highway 413 that supercharge climate pollution and pave over the farmlands that feed us and the wetlands that protect us from flooding and clean our drinking water. Instead, let's build safe, affordable communities where everyone has a place to call home. We can maintain that and at the same time build out the transportation systems we need to keep our communities connected. We are fully committed and have costed this out in our climate plan to uploading or to reinstating 50% of the provincial cost share for transit funding operations so we can maintain reliable, affordable transit services that people can afford and take pressure off of property taxpayers. We are committed to working with municipalities to not only fund expansion of transit services, but to also build protected bike lanes and to make sure the infrastructure is in place to keep our streets safe for seniors, people with disabilities, and others in our communities through universal design. We will get bike lanes and bus lanes and patios and green space, priority access, so we can continue to build the people-centered neighborhoods that we built during the last 2 years to help our small businesses recover. We'll work with you to convert surplus publicly owned parking lots into community use spaces, including for affordable housing. I'm inspired by the Good Roads Association's vision to implement Vision Zero, and we will work with you by providing funding to municipalities to install traffic calming measures around schools, hospitals, shopping areas, and other busy pedestrian areas, to help redesign roads to reduce driving speeds in high-risk areas, and to pass a Vulnerable Road Users Act to ensure that people are safe in our communities. You know, the pandemic has made it clear how important having access to safe, clean, accessible outdoor spaces are, where people can safely support local businesses and access nature and parks. And as businesses recover from months of lockdown and closures, we want to build the kinds of communities where it's easy for people to support the local businesses in their neighborhoods. You know, I've been knocking on doors all across the province, visiting communities in the north, the south, the east, and the west. And people over and over again tell me they want to live in an affordable community without a long commute, in a community where they have the time to spend with their loved ones. And those are exactly the kinds of communities the Ontario Greens will build with you. Because we know that those kinds of communities are not only good for local small businesses, but they're also good for people's health, and they help reduce climate pollution. Because it's now abundantly clear that we are in a climate emergency, that it's now or never for climate action. And we know that transportation is the #1 source of climate pollution in this province. And that's why we'll help you build connected communities. That's why we will help you electrify your transit fleets and install charging infrastructure so people can have access to low-cost sources of transportation. When I was first elected, I asked the Financial Accountability Officer to do a study of what the impact of climate-fueled extreme weather events would have on the province's infrastructure. And the first part of that report was focused on buildings. And in the next decade alone, we know that climate-fueled weather events will cost our public buildings alone $6 billion. $60 billion over the next 2 decades. And that's why the Ontario Greens are committed, and I want to announce today, as part of our climate plan, an $8 billion climate adaptation fund to support municipalities with green and resilient infrastructure, to help you address the escalating costs associated with building infrastructure for your communities and to building the things your citizens want, like public libraries and recreation centers, to help you build transit infrastructure in a climate-friendly way by using recycled aggregates to reduce cost and protect water. Speaking of water, the Ontario Greens are absolutely committed to working with you to protect water in our communities. That's why I tabled a motion calling for a temporary moratorium on new gravel mining applications until we know exactly how much aggregate we need and until we can restore municipalities' ability to protect their water when it comes to these types of applications. We know the climate emergency is here, we know it is real, and we know that we can address it while at the same time being a global leader in the new climate economy, creating new career opportunities and better jobs for people living in healthy, sustainable communities. So let's work together as partners. Let's work together to build communities that are affordable, that are safer, that are more climate resilient and healthier. Healthy communities where people can afford to access the care they need. Because let's face it, everything is not okay in our communities when it comes to mental health. The pandemic has taken a huge toll on people's health and well-being. Almost half of Ontarians say their mental health has worsened since the pandemic started. And half of them are having challenges accessing the care they need, and when they do access it, they can't afford it. Mental health is health. And that's why I'm so proud the Ontario Greens was the first party in Ontario's history to put forward a standalone mental health platform, a platform that will ensure that mental health services are covered over OHIP, that will ensure access to care is accessible and affordable so people can get the care they need when and where they need it. So our children will no longer be the 28,000 children on a mental health wait list, up to 18 months long, will no longer have to wait for the care they need. Because we know that healthy people lead to healthy communities. So I want to conclude today by saying we have a vision to reimagine our communities to be more livable, affordable, healthier, and safer, with clean air to breathe, clean water to drink, and fresh local food to eat, where public transit is affordable and reliable, where active transportation is encouraged and people are safe on our streets. But it's going to take a real plan to make it happen. We need more than just tweaks to a broken system. We need an upstream approach where we address the problems now, where we address gridlock in Ontario with solutions like connected, affordable communities, not more expensive highways like Highway 413, where we address the issues of skyrocketing gas prices by making it affordable and more accessible for people to drive using electricity, low-cost electricity, where we address the housing crisis by building affordable housing in the communities where our young people want to live, so we don't have a generation wondering if they'll ever be able to afford a home. I encourage you to work with us, to deliver the solutions that people need, because I will commit to you that the Ontario Greens and our candidates running in communities all across this province, in every riding of this province, are willing to work with you and are eager to work with you to build the affordable, healthy communities that I know all of you want and your residents want.